The Miami Dolphins agree to terms with Erick Flowers, guard Erick Flowers, formerly of the Washington Redskins, played tackle for the New York Giants. It's $30 million over 3 years with $19 million guaranteed. No, actually nearly $20 million. It's $19.95 million guaranteed. So nearly $20 million guaranteed. Erick is coming home to Miami, states Ian Rappaport. So actually, this is very interesting because I feel like this was, I don't want to call it a reactionary move, but I do feel in some cases it was a reactionary move to Joe Thuney being franchised. Because I think the number one destination for Joe Thuney was the Dolphins. So that being said, Erick Flowers was most likely, I don't want to put words in their mouth or anything like that, most likely the backup plan to Joe Thuney being franchised or being signed by another team was Erick Flowers for the Dolphins. Because the Dolphins, they desperately needed offensive linemen, so I like that they went out and they signed offensive linemen. Flowers was good last year. I know that he has a bad reputation across the NFL because he's kind of been viewed as a bust. He hasn't been able to live up to his draft stock early on in his career, but that was at tackle. You shift him to guard, he's a better player. Now, is he elite? No, but he's better than what he was. Erick Flowers ranked 30th last season by PFF at the guard position. So overall, that's a top 15 player at either guard position. That's pretty good. That's a pretty good signing overall for the Dolphins. It might be, a little bit too much money for a player that's had really one. Personally, it's interesting because if he could play to the level that he played last season, he's 25 years old. He was great in college. If he can live up to his draft stock now at the guard position, and this was the right move for his career, and all of a sudden it turns around his entire career, then I think this is a good signing. But there is the potential that with this 3-year deal with nearly $20 million guaranteed for a player that's only had one good season in the NFL, it might be a little risky, a little bit risky there. So I think it's a solid signing in terms of filling a need. I do think it brings a lot of risk, but you are getting a guard who's only 25 years old. And if it works out, you're getting a player in the prime of his career who's athletically very good and could develop into being one of the best players at the position. So there's risk you got to weigh the risk in free agency. And we know, as I've said many times, you're going to overpay these players. But with this move, there's a lot of potential. I see the potential that Brian Flores, the Dolphins, see in Erick Flowers. And I'm looking forward to seeing if he can live up to what he did last season with Washington and continue to get better at guard for the Dolphins. I think this is a good signing for Miami, and it's a good start on their offensive line, the worst offensive line in the league last year. So, Erick Flowers to the Dolphins.